Sick of Being Unlucky is the latest album from ValeSmith. You may know him as Buffalo Staple, famous for being an avid fan of my pasta and also an avid fan of my face slaps. They're the only two things he's famous for. I don't have an ego. You hopefully know him for his fantastic music reviews and the lists that he does, the B-Tech playlists, all the other exciting videos that he puts out there. Generally one of my favourite music reviewers, but he also so happens to make music. He makes music under the name of ValeSmith. He is an electronic artist, a bit of a trap, wonky EDM type stuff this guy creates. I've been following him since the beginning, actually. The beginning that I am aware of, because he did put out music under the B Staple name quite a few years ago now. Maybe he made music before that, but that was kind of the main first release, I think, under that name. But of course he's changed to ValeSmith since then. So I am friends with the guy, but I would never just come on the YouTube channel here and put out a video just telling you that something's good if I didn't really truly believe it was good. And his music is genuinely good. He's been on an upward trajectory, each release I think has gotten better and better. He's just becoming more creative with his sounds and the way he produces his music. There's just something more enjoyable about every album, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see this growth for a pretty up and coming artist, a young artist. And this new album here, I do think has continued to follow that trend of improving with every release, because this is easily his best so far. This is the best release under the ValeSmith name, and genuinely a great album. Seriously, I am having a lot of fun with this, and I'll be honest, the first listen I played this, I wasn't entirely sure. I guess the genre of wonky music can be a bit like that sometimes. You have to be in the right headspace, the right mood. It's kind of the same with like a drone album. You can just stick on a drone album at any time. You need the mood, you need the setting. I think that was what was the issue with the first listen. I just wasn't quite in the mood to listen to an album like this, because it's quite scattered, quite all over the place. It really does keep you on your toes throughout. And it's those qualities there that actually ended up being the most enjoyable thing about this album. I love the fact that it's scattered and all over the place and just constantly, changing ideas while remaining really concise and consistent. You're not just getting random things thrown in at any point. It really is just a very refined sounding album. Not to say that Origami from last year didn't have this quality to it, because I think it definitely did, but I think the improvement comes from the fact that the beats on this album generally are just sick as fuck. They're sick as fuck. I'm supposed to be using terminology here that's more descriptive than that, because I'm a music reviewer, but what else is there to say sometimes than something sounding sick as fuck? The qualities in this album tend to lie in the details that ValeSmith is throwing in some of these tracks. Like Core Tune, there's this sort of I don't want to say dripping tap, but it sort of sounds like a dripping tap. It comes in towards the end of the track, but it's intertwined with the melody so nicely, and then it goes away and then something else comes in. Just like the constant shifts just constantly get you and then you're I just like the way that there's always something going on with this album, whether it be the overall melody riding the song, or it's the little bits that he throws in on Cassia, Topaz with the and then it goes away and then it comes back. It's he's sort of playing around with structure on a lot of these tracks. You're never really waiting for something to happen. Something's going on, but then something later on comes through and you weren't expecting it, even though you've played the album 4 or 5 times or something. I know there's a lot of artists in this field that like to play around with you being teased. You're waiting for something, maybe something's building up, something's kind of creeping up, and then you get this smashing, clashing drop, and then everything's whoa. Well, ValeSmith's never really doing that here. He's just giving you the goods right away. He's not messing around. He's just handing it over to you straight away, and you're instantly satisfied. Red Urchin Tempest being the best example here, and currently my favorite track on the album, but I feel as though with more listens, even after this review, like my favorite track will constantly shift around. You know, it could easily be Daffodil Wisdom, because that's a freaking great track too. But like the way on the Red Urchin Tempest, like the beat kind of like fades in, and it's like keeps like tripping in and out. It's kind of like on your ears, but like you're just so engaged with it, and you just wanting to see where it takes you next. It's such a wild ride of an album. I would definitely like to see him try incorporating more vocals in the way he did on the track that I just mentioned as well, Daffodil Wisdom. I think the way it's intertwined with the beat is really cool here. It kind of made me think like that he's tapping into some potential though, like he could definitely find a way to use these moments and you know, explode the tracks in ways that he probably hasn't done before. But like, yeah, this was a really nice moment on the album for me. There are lots of moments on the album as well that remind me of something like Fortet would do, and it's probably because I'm such a huge fan of Fortet that I'm saying that. But as well as this, you know, I know ValeSmith being such a big fan of Fortet as well, I wouldn't be surprised if he had some kind of influence on his music and his craft in general, because he is just that amazing at making music too. But I always forget the name of the instrument, but it's like this like dulcimer sounding instrument that's used throughout this album. Just gives this really nice glossy tone to the tracks, really sweet melodies that are incorporated too. I'm probably butchering what it actually is there, but it's got that similar vibrant sound to what a dulcimer would have. It just leaves a lot of room for many of these tracks to, you know, have this playful energy to them, because they're already energetic as hell, but then this incorporation of this really sweet sounding melody that he throws in just adds a really nice touch to these tracks. You can just tell so much effort went into making these tracks sound as fresh and as unique as possible, because that's how it reads to me listening to it. I mean, you know, in the past few years, this is actually probably one of the bigger highlights in this genre for me completely. Like, there really aren't many Wonky albums that are reaching out to me, screaming out to me in the ways that this one is, because it's just so replayable and fun. I guess in terms of negatives, I would have to say Ukazi and then Convalescing aren't two of the strongest tracks. Ukazi just doesn't really immerse me in the ways that so many of the other tracks do, and maybe it's because it does come after Daffodil Wisdom, which is easily one of the best tracks on the whole thing. It is just that good of a track, but I don't know what it is. Something feels a bit off. I guess maybe this track is more scattered than some of the others, and it just doesn't really leave me as satisfied as I wanted to. I'm not sure. Convalescing doesn't exactly pick it back up right away either for me, to be honest, so it just leaves these like two tracks back to back being the weakest moments for me on the whole thing, unfortunately. But the word convalescing does mean to recuperate, to recover. So when you get to Yusuke's Witness, that track just has this really hopeful sound to it. It's such a great closer for me, and I'm kind of wondering if that was intentional. You know, you've recovered and then you've got this like really hopeful ending. I don't know if there is some kind of tying theme running through the whole thing, but I did notice that at the end there. It kind of perked up my ears going, wait a minute, well, did he do that? Did he do that? I just love the way the final track sounds though, even if this, you know, theme I've attached to it here is not even like relevant to the album, but it just gives off this really like heavenly closing moment that sort of makes you think, maybe now is the time we're gonna stop being unlucky. It's time for the unlucky run to end, and this is the starting point. But even without that, man, this album is just an absolute treat anyway. Like, it just truly is such a fun listen. Like, if you are like a fan of this genre, like wonky EDM, trap, that type of stuff, like, you would have to give this a shot, because god damn, it really is that good of an album. It provides me with so much joy and fun that I can't really go lower than an 8 out of 10. So yeah, great album, 8 out of 10 from me. Thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Definitely his best album to date, and I think a lot of people that have been listening and following his music will agree as well. It seems to be getting a really strong reception, and that is great to see. But you should check this out. It is on streaming. I will put Bandcamp link as well in the description box too, because you know, you might want to support it financially. and it is available there. Shout out to Speak and Spell Records too, having a really good year, because Shy's Obscura is also on that label, and 2 great albums from that record label this year. It's good to see. Thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Check out this album if you haven't already. Goodbye.